Hello and welcome to Dr. Shiny Tarot. This is a monthly reading for the month of December for Virgo, for my Virgo friends, my fellow Virgos. So let's go ahead and get started with your reading. This one wants to dance around a little bit. Okay. Okay, so what we have for the current situation is this Four of Pentacles. So this indicates that you're kind of like maybe trying to save up some money, or you're a little bit hesitant to give up money, or you feel like there is something that you need to prepare for in the future and all that. It kind of has this feeling of like you already kind of have what you need. You have everything that you need. You're just kind of trying to save up some extra. There may be some more long-term goals or something that you're trying to move toward, and that's okay. The problem here is just a lot of times this Four of Pentacles, it indicates kind of a sacrificing of fulfillment and contentment in the future, or happiness. I'm sorry, in the present, fulfillment or happiness in the present for the promise of the future or something else that's far off. So you don't want to sacrifice being able to enjoy the now because you're always preparing for the future. That is a trap, and it never, I don't want to say never, rarely does it work out quite perfectly. Now, what you have crossing you is this Seven of Cups. This Seven of Cups is kind of like you have all these choices that are out in front of you. You could do all these things, but every one of them comes with some drawbacks, some problems. And so it's not that there's like a particular right choice. It's about that how are you going to deal with each of the negatives or the cons that come with the pros of whatever choice that you're going to make. And so a good way to navigate that situation is to really think about, even the negative aspects of whatever it is you choose. Are those negative aspects really too much to deal with, or is there a situation where there are not as many negative aspects? Usually there's kind of not. Usually there's always some pain to deal with through anything. And, some people are more comfortable bouncing from thing to thing because it gets a little monotonous and harder to deal with sort of nitpicky, annoying things that you have to do in any particular endeavor. And some people really just are happier if they just kind of stay in one place. They think the grass is always greener, so I might as well just sort of stay here and stick it out and become happy the way I am. And I've met people who are very successful in both ways. It's really a matter of can you kind of hold it together for a long enough time so that you're not constantly shooting yourself in the foot and ending back up at square one. So the energy that you're leaving behind, the energy that you're going away from, or what happened in the past, is this King of Swords in the reverse. So this is kind of a failure to be able to get others behind you, a failure to be able to influence others. You were trying really hard to get it to go a specific way, and it really didn't. It didn't go out the way that you wanted, but you're moving away from this, so you're becoming more successful at influencing others, but this is also just something that happened in the past. So leave it behind. There's lessons to be learned from what you didn't get right, how you failed to really get it across to others, to get these ideas across, to influence people to do what you wanted. There are lessons to be learned there, but it's in the past. You're moving forward from that. And where you're moving toward is this Two of Wands. So this is a very much a planning energy. It's looking way, way off into the future and figuring out what you're going to do in the long run. So it's a good a nice, comfortable place to be, but eventually you're going to have to start putting some of those things into action and try to, figure out where the fertile soil is, figure out where exactly things are going to work for you and where they're not, where you need to redirect your efforts to have the best outcome or the most luck. Foundation of the situation is the Chariot foundation card. It can kind of be what's going on in your subconscious, but it's what brings forth the situation or the scenario that you're experiencing, and it's kind of like the overall lesson that the universe is trying to teach you here, or that you're trying to teach yourself, right? It's coming up from your subconscious. The Chariot is about sort of a sense of accomplishment, right? So you get your home life together and everything is good, and then out of that stability, you now get to choose what are you going to go out and do in the world. How are you going to put a bigger mark on the world around you? And so it involves kind of harnessing these opposing forces a lot of times. This, my heart wants to go one way, my mind wants to go the other. How do I put a bridle on them and kind of direct them in the same ultimate aim? And so this is asking you kind of like, what do you want to do with your life? What is ultimately going to fulfill you? What's the most important thing to you? When you really think about it, and don't just think about, like, a lot of times we borrow our sense of priorities from others around us or from the culture around us. They tell you to think about certain things as really important. But if you really look around you and just feel, what is it that makes you tick? What is it that makes you get out of bed? What do you really want to do with your life, right? And so this is the foundation of this situation. It's not just going to be about what's going to give you all this financial success. That is something clearly that you're going to want, but that's not going to point you toward what's really going to help you out, what's really going to make your heart sing, and that kind of thing. You're going to have to dive inward to get to that answer. You're moving toward this sort of planning thing. So you're going to be looking into the future a little bit and kind of wondering, okay, what is long-term sustainable? What do I want to accomplish with my life? Your crowning thoughts, what's in your conscious mind? You have this judgment. So this is kind of like a lot of times a feeling of, well, I've done what I wanted to, and I'm ready to to just stop and let it be what it is, to kind of let judgment come. So it's this, whenever you're in any type of endeavor, there's the stage in which you're not prepared and you're trying to get prepared. Then you're prepared and you're actually doing the thing. And then there's a point in which you're finished and you're ready for it to be judged, or you're ready for the result of your efforts to be put into action, so to speak, or for it to leave your hands. We'll put it that way. And so this is on your mind. You're kind of ready to move on from some particular project and see the outcome, see the success. You feel like you've put enough into it to let it have its own life, to give it its own chance in the universe. So whether or not it really is ready for that is not necessarily clear from this particular reading, but it's definitely, you feel like it is. You feel like you've kind of done enough. So this is or we could put it another way. You have your home life and everything situated sufficiently. You've done a good enough job at that, and you're ready to kind of move on and get to the grander scale things about your life. So it's not just about like organizing everything in your home, or finding a good place to raise a family or that kind of thing. Now it's about, where are you going to take your overall life direction? Where's your overall life's work going to go? It may be, if you have a family, you're going to raise a family, and you want them to be happy and healthy and all that kind of thing. But that's that's kind of a given. That's not, and I mean, I say it's a given. Some people don't see it that way, but really it should be a given. And so there's really more questions here about like, what in the world would you like to change? You know, what lasting mark would you like to leave on the world around you? Beyond just the simple legacy that you leave, beyond just the money that you leave, because a lot of times we kind of fool ourselves. We trap ourselves into thinking, well, you know, I didn't get to do what I wanted to do, but I'm just going to work my life away and save up as much money as possible, and then I'll hand it down to my children so they get to do what they want to do. Yeah, but see, the problem is there's this thing called inflation. And so what ends up happening is your children really learn from what you do. They don't learn from what you're trying to tell them. They more mimic what you're doing, and so you're really gonna learn a child, or learn a child. You're gonna learn him. Now you're gonna teach a child to do exactly what you did, which is to basically spend your life working away and never do what you really wanted to. So I don't think you want to do that. Most of us don't, but we don't realize it until it's too late that that's what we've done. So you know, find a project that really sort of agrees with your soul. It doesn't mean you're supposed to forsake your family or anything along that path, but you have to figure out some way of really enjoying life, getting something out of life, and you're the only one who can really decide how to do that, or what's going to do that for you, because there's no just intrinsic point to life, right? It's the point of life is to live it, right? So part of that process is to use the faculties that you have to do something worthwhile. And again, worthwhile is only going to be defined by you. And if you spend your life chasing what other people want you to do, you're going to be very, very unfulfilled, because it's like everybody's got their own ideas, but a lot of them aren't chasing what they want to do either, so they'll just pawn it off on you, right? So, yeah, definitely take some time to plan for the future and to decide what kind of world you'd like to leave behind, you know? So your advice for the current situation is the Hermit here. This is to kind of block out the world around you, find some solitude, and take some time to reflect deeply on the inner you, on what you really love, on what really you know, makes it feel like the time is flying by, makes it feel like there's just not enough time on Earth, right? So this is, you know, self-reflection. That guiding light is a very common part of this card. It's present here too, but often the Hermit is kind of like, he has a lantern out in front of him, he's holding out in front of him, which guides his way, and it's that light of inner reflection. Oh, there it is right there, the little lantern. Not just the light up there, but there's a little lantern, and that guiding light sort of like takes you down the path of life and informs your decision-making process. And once you have that figured out, once you take that inward journey to figure out what it is that you're going to really want to do with your life, it makes everything flow a little bit more smoothly, because now you know what's going to lead to or detract from those goals. And sometimes you're going to knowingly make sacrifices along that road, but it's better to know what you're doing, right? So current environment is the Seven of Pentacles. This is sort of you've done a lot of work, you've planted the crops, and now you're just sort of waiting for them to fruit or come to fruition. And that kind of, it's not there yet, but it's supposed to be there any minute, and you're kind of just waiting and watching with some warm feelings about what's coming your way and the results of your hard work. So it's not necessarily a delay. That would be kind of more if this card was in the reverse. But so in the environment around you, there's quite a bit of things that you've put some time into planting some seeds, to seeing if things are going to, turn out. And it's really just kind of a waiting game at this point to figure out if they're going to or not. So the Fears card here is this Nine of Pentacles. This indicates a sort of like somebody who she's really successful. She's done a lot. She's accomplished a lot, but she's kind of like pulling back on or off of the accelerator a little bit and just daydreaming a little bit, kind of figuring out that she doesn't have to work quite so hard and she can enjoy some of the fruits of her labors and all that. So in the fears card, it could be that you're kind of not taking enough of a rest or a you're not allowing yourself to get bored enough to figure out exactly what you want to do or what you want to accomplish, or you're afraid to. You're afraid if you stop swimming, you'll sink, and that's not going to happen. It's just going to grow more and more if you just take a little time to relax. There's, and life is short in some aspect or frame of analysis, but in other ways, there's a lot of things that can happen in a short period of time if you just sort of be patient and allow things to happen. A lot of times timing is everything. So it could be that there's been a lot of different situations here that you've put some effort into, that you're trying to plant seeds for, but it really requires just that sort of lucky timing for it to take off, and you're not wanting to sit back in that sort of passive, just waiting mode. And that's okay. It's natural for you not to want to, but the more you can, the more at rest you're going to feel, and the more at rest you're going to feel, the more this creative inspiration is really going to hit harder, or be more evident. So the overall message, or this is kind of like the direction that you're headed, if you don't heed the advice, or if you don't alter the direction here, is this Five of Pentacles. So, in this context, the Five of Pentacles is kind of a need for help, and not really reaching out for it, or not asking for help. But it's like, it's right there, it's available. So this person, the door is locked, but the key is just like sitting right there. So all she has to do is really reach out, and she would be able to get it, to unlock the door. So this is kind of like where you might end up if you don't take some time to figure things out here. The way I'm kind of interpreting it is, if you don't pick a path will be chosen for you. And you might not exactly like the path that's chosen for you. You might be a little bit depressed about it. So you really got to devote yourself to something, there's an old country song. I think it was Aaron Tippin who said that you've got to stand for something or you'll fall for anything. I thought that was pretty deep lyric there for a country song. I don't mean to trash country, but the point of that is that really, if you don't devote yourself to something, then just by default, you'll be a tool for somebody else's goals or end game. So you might as well, if you're going to be working your life away, if you're going to have to work for your entire life, you might as well be doing it for something that you want to do, instead of just following other people's dreams and that kind of thing. So this is a journey of fulfillment for you. That's the overall message here. It's, how do you find out what you really want to do? And it can be tough for Virgos because we are notorious overthinkers, right? So, and you probably have many situations here that are possibilities, but you have to pick something. You're going to be more effective by channeling your energy in one direction than having it scattered all over the place with a bunch of directions. So, anyway, I think that you're on your way, and I have faith that you'll be able to figure it out. I think that's a pretty good reading for you. Let me know what you think in the comments, if you have any additional questions or would like clarifications. And please like and subscribe if you enjoyed the reading, and check out my other readings. I'm doing readings all the time for new moons and pick-a-cards and different things like that. But until next time, this has been Dr. Shiny, and thank you for watching, my Virgo friends.